guys, today I'm going to be talking about what it's like to have two boy guinea pigs living together in the same cage. This is my older guinea pig, Remy, and this is the younger one, Ollie. He's less than a year old. Now, from everything that I have read and researched, you should only have two boys together and not in a room with girls because then they could potentially fight. So I feel like as a guinea pig owner, we kind of get locked in to either boys or girls. I'll kind of tell you why I switched to boys, at least for now. Basically, I was sad with girls having so many female issues. It's hard to explain, but they're very prone to things like ovarian problems, and they can get crabby with each other, which I'm going to talk about a little bit. Anyway, I really just wanted to try something different, but the other reason is because it can be easier to find boys, and you may find that depending on where you live as well. Where I live, it's pretty much easier to find boys, and I don't think people really want boys because they know about certain issues with boys. So let me talk about the negative things with boys. First of all, I do find that they are messier, and I find that they are smellier than females, okay? But in saying that they're smellier, it's not a huge difference. The main thing that I notice when I clean their cage is there seems to be scent marking going on, because after I clean the cage, I'll be like, I just cleaned this, why does it smell? And I didn't notice that when I only had Remy, so it does make me suspicious of this guy right here. But I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I do notice that there's a little bit of a smell. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is the potential for a falling out, which is always in the back of my mind, always scary. The reason that it scares me, and it is very real to me, is that I had this happen before with gerbils. I had a couple of bonded female gerbils who loved each other, and they had a falling out where I suddenly had to completely buy an entire new habitat and get them separated, and obviously they could not go back together again ever, ever, ever. It was a very bad and scary situation. There was blood. I won't get into too many details, but they obviously had a complete falling out. That can apparently happen with male guinea pigs as well. So my main point that I would say, based on the bad situation that I had, is that you need to have a fallback plan, and it needs to be something that you already have in your home. If my two guinea pigs ever start fighting and it becomes obvious that they are not bonded anymore, I have two different fallback cages that they can live in permanently. So obviously one of them would have to be removed right away. If you have two boy guinea pigs, I think you should have two cages. And then you don't have to worry about it quite as much. Because let me tell you, when it happens and it's an emergency, you want to be prepared. And I learned that the hard way, like I said, with gerbils, not with guinea pigs. A positive note is that one thing I love about these guys is they don't go through heat. I don't know if you have ever had this problem. I do not hear a lot of people talk about it. But if you have girl guinea pigs, they can get really, really crabby when they're in heat. They can go through heat twice a month, and they can be in that for about 2 days. So that's 4 days a month times the number of female guinea pigs you have. And I typically liked to have 3 guinea pigs, which means 12 days a month, someone might be crabby. All guinea pigs are different from one another, and you may not notice with some girls, so I don't want to be throwing girls under the bus, but that is one positive thing I've noticed with these guys is they may get irritated with one another, but it is not for 2 days straight. It's like, hey, you're in my way and I don't feel like walking around you, so I'm angry with you right now, and they'll do like a rumble strutting type thing, but they'll be over it a few minutes later, and they're not having like these big arguments that last a long time and stress each other out. So I've really appreciated that about them. And they don't really have the dominance type struggles quite as often as my females used to. When Ollie was a baby, I actually caught Remy grooming him, but he has definitely felt like he is the boss. So far, Ollie has been pretty good at not trying to be the dominant guinea pig. At times, he will kind of act like he wants to gain dominance, but it's not been a huge issue with them. The worst I have seen is them doing this, I'm going to show with my hands, where, you know, guinea pigs will kind of snap in the air at each other. I have seen them do that, but they have never done anything that is cause for alarm. But it's always in the back of my head that I have spare cages if I need them. These little guys are getting antsy, so I feel like it's time for me to close the video. I hope you have enjoyed watching this, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comments. Just know that this is my first rodeo, so to speak, with male guinea pigs, so I'm not an expert, but I'll do my best if you have something you want to ask. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Bye!